Do you already know how you can make easily really cool question and answer patterns for your arrangement in Ableton Session View? In this video, we will check it out. If you haven't already watched my video on how to create killer Psytrance arrangements, you should watch that first because we're using some techniques from that video. I will link to this up here. For those who haven't watched my video yet, I'm building my arrangement in this session view first. So I have all my leads here. So I do a big brainstorm of leads, like maybe like 50 leads before I even start with my arrangement. And then I bring them all here and I have all the MIDI clips. As you can see, the namings are the same here to those leads. And then I also recombine them and check out which clips work with the other leads as well. And from here, I start combining them, building like little micro arrangements, which I can use then as building blocks for my whole arrangement later. The first thing we are basically going to do is we check out which leads work together really well. So let's launch some kick and bass and drums. So let's say we have those two leads, the sample and hold and that kind of like plucky bell thing. And now we want to bring in a third one. And in this tutorial, I want to show you how you can escape a little bit from those MIDI patterns which you have in that clips. Because usually if you bring more than one or two leads, it starts to conflict at some points. And you can still jam with that and work around this issue. And I will show you how in this video. So let's bring an FM so that we have kind of like diversity. Now we have like this plucky lead, we have the sample and hold, and we will bring an FM to kind of like build our third voice in that section. And as you can already hear, it kind of like starts overlaying with these other two leads, and it's not sounding so nicely. But I think the sound, the synthesizer itself, fits very well to those two. So the first thing we need to take care of to put on the global quantization. You can put it on up here and you can already see there's like shortcuts for it. So you can either launch the clips without any quantization with Command 0, or with Command 6, like 16th, you can quantize this to 1/16. This will influence when you later record it into the arrangement view, that if you record the clips, that they will start with the 1/16 grid, which is really important because otherwise you will get like a lot of off-grid sounds and then you have to clean up more, which happened to me in my last live stream, and it was a bit nasty to kind of like fix that afterwards. By the way, if you're interested and want to see this like really live in action, how I do this with my own track, then I link to this live stream up here. And now I will show you different ways how you can jam to this, two clips and bring in the third clip. And one is kind of like, and one technique is actually a little bit easier if you have the push-to controller or any MIDI controller you want to use and is suitable for that. But I will show you a few hacks now how you can do it without a MIDI controller, and then we will switch to the MIDI controller. So we want to launch this clip on and off while the others are playing, so to find the right slots where we want to play it. And once we hit space, it will play all those clips. And if we hit enter, it will restart the clip. And if we hit 0, it will deactivate the clip, so it will stop the clip. And if we hit 0 again, then we can relaunch it. So check this out. It's a little bit like when you have an arpeggiator and kind of like it plays through all the notes for as long as you hold it. So with that enter, we can kind of like re-enable it all the time and find like new patterns based from that starting position here. So that's one thing we can use. Then the second one, as mentioned, is deactivating and starting the clip. It's a little bit cumbersome with that thing. It's way easier with the MIDI controller, but that's one way with kind of like 0 and enter. And another way, which is a little bit more effort to set up and could bring you out of the creativity and flow here, but makes it easier to do this on-off thing if you don't have a MIDI controller, is to assign keyboard shortcuts with Command K. You can open them. And I assigned like a normal P here for launching this clip and a capital P for stopping it. That's kind of like some options you would have if you want to launch it without the MIDI controller. And now we'll go into the MIDI controller. And now we will fix it a little bit up. And the thing is, it doesn't need to be perfect at all. So we just consolidate it and we find the best bits we really like, and then we loop around. Something like that could be cool, and we just need to consolidate it again, and then we loop it, and we have our nice section here. And what I really like on this is it became a little bit cumbersome, as you have seen, with kind of like activating and deactivating those clips. And here it's like really easy because we just press the clip, we just press here to deactivate it, and we also can easily kind of like launch different clips with fingers and kind of like finger drum little clip parts together. Also, it becomes really easy to kind of like launch all the scenes, because if we just want to have, for example, kick and bass and drums, I ordered them all here on the first slots of this. So the first one is kicking bass and some drums. And here all the drums. So if I press this, I'm basically starting new again, and that makes it like really easy for me to kind of like combine all those clips here. And then we can really easy find the good ones, and then we can, with this jamming technique, combine them in a way that it makes sense, the language between them, and they are not talking all over each other, and then we have more like a question answer thing between them. This technique I will show you now. It's actually really easy, and you don't need a MIDI controller for that. Once we have selected all the clips we want to play, we just create a new scene. And you can easily do this by selecting the slot where you want to bring your new scene. And then we duplicate the scene into here. So you can either push on Ableton push duplicate, or you can use Command-Shift-I, as you can see here, to capture and insert a new scene. So let's do this. And once we have our new scene here, we can just trigger it. And now we will select all the notes here, and we can change the starting point as we want to. And with 0, we turn the notes off, and with 0, we turn the notes on again. And so now we can just jam by putting 0 on and off. And we can find really good slots and kind of like skip all the slots we don't need. And from there we have two options. We can either kind of like record it into the arrangement view. So we just hit record. And from there we have two options. We can just record it into arrangement view. And then we have it kind of like nicely here in our arrangement view. And all we need to do is we go in here, we consolidate our clip, and then we play it. And then we could decide that we may want to loop this here, this part, and then we could reconsolidate it. Maybe we do this one here longer so that we don't have everything same here. And that's it. And then we already found our kind of like new pattern within the pattern. We can still adjust stuff here, or we could say like, let's move this over here. if we still find there's like space for some notes, we can still select those here and play them again. Then we just decide that we want to take those notes here with us. Once we got this, we just take like our marker on the time. So the time we want to have, let's say we want to have 16 bars here. So 209 to 225. We move this over here. We loop it nicely, consolidate it again because we want to have this one here as well. Make sure that everything is going for 16 bars, what we have here. Like this. Also this here is a little bit ugly. And once we have finished that, then you have the time marker up here and you just go into here, into consolidate time to new scene. And we get our new scene again in the session view here. So this is our new scene, and when I play it here, but you could do the same actually in here. So you could just play this here and not record it. You just remember which notes you took on and you just activate them again here. And then let's say this pattern is a little bit too short for you. We could just like duplicate this, and then we could take the notes which we had off and play them again and look if we get something really nice. I personally find it always a bit confusing if you have the starting point not on a 1. So a little trick for that is just bringing this over here, quickly consolidating it, and then bringing it back here. And I think that looks way nicer if you want to kind of like orientate in the clip. And then we could check out what we could do here. Maybe we could do something that we have those longer notes here in the middle. Or maybe here in the end. I guess you get the idea, but you can actually go very flexible. And if you also change the starting points, then there's really actually no reason to go with your static clips you had in the beginning. You can kind of like bring them into a lot of new options and a lot of new orders, which you haven't had into your basic raw arrangement preparation here.